Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. We officially got the reveal for World of Warcraft Midnight this week during Gamescom, and we have a lot to talk about. There was so much that came out during this week that I needed a moment to sit down, collect all the information, and gather my thoughts. Apologies if I missed anything. A lot of this news was a little bit fragmented, delayed, and it's been a bit of a process getting it all, but let's dive in. I will be putting links below of all the places that have had panels and interviews available for us. First up, let's talk about the cinematic. Amazing opening, already starting off defending the sun well, void versus light. The visuals almost felt like a little bit of a different vibe to me. Kinda Diablo-esque at times, maybe even a little ESO. There was build-up. Xal'atath's entrance, of course, was incredible. She's so awesome. A little bit more build-up, and then here comes the Army of the Light. But I love that we immediately started out with some conflict. Quite a shift from Dragonflight and the War Within cinematics. During the developer panel, we got a recap from Ian on the story up until now. Maria Hamilton gave us some of the key characters that we will see recurring throughout the expansion. We'll see Alaria and Turalyon, as well as their son Erator, each with their own important roles to play. Of course, Xal'atath will be present once again, as we saw in the cinematic, doing villain things, taking all the power, and taking over Azeroth. Lady Liadrin, the matriarch of the Blood Knights, who will be helping us push back the void. She has a strong dislike for the Amani trolls, which will also be an important part of her storyline. Orwena, the youngest of the Haranir, will teach us about her people and culture. Umbric and the Void Elves, who were banished from Silvermoon, will have a lot to contribute as we go up against the void. Zuljara and Zul'Jan, the grandchildren of the Amani warlord Zul'Jin, once enemies but now becoming friends, will give us the scoop on the Amani culture. We're going to be venturing to level 90 in 4 new zones. The revamped zone of Kel'Thalas with Eversong Woods and a newly rebuilt Silvermoon City will have a small section serve as our shared central sanctuary during the expansion. Even though this will be the main area for both Horde and Alliance, this is still primarily a Horde city and will have areas that are only accessible as a Horde player. I'm personally so excited to go back here. Silvermoon, Eversong, and the Ghostlands are up there in my top favorite zones along with Tirisfal Glades, and it will be nice to see the city and its surrounding areas healing and bustling again. It was stated that Eversong and the Ghostlands have been combined into a single zone, and as someone who absolutely adores the Ghostlands, it's a little sad. The way it played out back in the day was that the Scourge was an irreversible devastation that wouldn't be able to be healed by conventional magic. It appears that over time, the power of the Sunwell has been able to aid in the healing of the lands, and the giant scar that has run through has totally healed and is no longer present. It was said that we will have the option to go back to Burning Crusade versions of these zones if we so choose. The Amani troll capital, Zul-Aman, is our next zone. Super stoked for this, fully expanded into an entire rainy, overgrown forest with tall, misty mountains and Loa temples like the Eagle, Dragonhawk, Bear, and Lynx. We'll meet the leaders of the Amani and learn more about the culture of the Amani trolls and their allied forest tribes. They've worked hard to build and keep their land, along with the conflicts with the Blood Elves. They've lost some of their connection with the Loa. The original Zul-Aman raid space still exists as well, so you'll get to revisit that if you remember coming here back in BC. Harandar is a brand new jungle zone and the home of the Haranir allied race, built around the roots of the world trees, a fungal jungle as Maria Hamilton mentioned in the developer panel. This gives me some serious Zangarmarsh vibes. The roots of the world tree all make their way down into this zone, and can you kind of picture that being the way we have to initially get down to the zone? By following the twisty roots? I mean, that's how the Haranir get back and forth, so could be cool. The Rift of Ulm brings creatures that the Haranir's goddess dreams about and can be terrible and horrific. So they have a guardian of sorts that dedicate themselves to serve as wardens so that those creatures don't come forth tearing into the reality. And we can react to paintings in the Den of Echoes to learn the stories of the Haranir as they remember their past. And then we have Voidstorm, a chaotic zone filled with void where everything wants to eat you to gain more and more power. We'll work together alongside the Army of the Light to uncover more secrets of the void and fight against Xal'atath's schemes. We've got some new dungeons, raids, and delves. We're getting 3 different raids in the first season of Midnight, integrating this content into the stories that this expansion will be telling. The Void Spire is a 6-boss raid within the Void Storm with cosmic horrors as we face Xal'atath's stronghold. The Dream Rift is a single boss raid encounter in Haranir where we'll slip between dreams and reality. And March on Keldanas is a 2-boss raid marching towards the Gates of Silvermoon and the Sunwell Plateau. We have 8 dungeons, all with their own unique storylines, some reimagined and some brand new. There are 4 level up dungeons and 4 we can do at max level. Each of these will be available in Season 1 for Mythic 0. Some to highlight are Magister's Terrace, which is revamped and expanded with some new locations, one being a balcony overlooking the Sunwell. Murder Row will give off Court of Stars from Legion vibes, going undercover to investigate fell magic within Silvermoon. The Voidscar Arena, with its waves of enemies attacking you, apparently being able to control the pace, and then Windrunner Spire, which will be a winged dungeon designed to uncover the mysteries and tragedy of the Windrunner family. There's a new Delve companion, Valera Sanguinar, along with 10 brand new delves scattered across the zones, and an 11th Nemesis delve, with more integrated stories, layouts, and enemies. A couple of the delves will actually be in the outdoor world, where we'll be able to use our ground mounts to get around. I'm one of those that really like delves and think it's a great system for those of us who don't really like the high pace of Mythic Plus or have time to commit to raiding, and I'm glad they're keeping these in. PvP players will have a new battleground called Slayer's Rise, a 40v40 set in the Void Storm inspired by Alterac Valley. You'll work to conquer bases and defeat the rival faction. We have a new spec for Demon Hunters. This 3rd specialization, the Devourer, will harness cosmic void energy with melee and mid-ranged abilities, expanding the role for Demon Hunters in combat. When switching to Devourer, you won't be seeing any green anymore. This is pure void themed. You'll pick up soul fragments that look like void orbs, and the more fragments you pick up, the longer some of your abilities last, like Metamorphosis. They will be receiving new hero talents as well. They're calling this talent Annihilator and will be shared with Vengeance Demon Hunter specs. This focuses on calling in Void Comets to battle for Devourer and Fell Meteors for Vengeance. Along with the classic Night Elf and Blood Elves, Void Elves will now be joining the ranks as Demon Hunter options during pre-patch with a short questline. We're also getting a new allied race, the Haranir. We did meet them previously in The War Within, but didn't know much about who they were or what their purpose was. This nature-connected group is led by a council of elders, and are the ancient guardians of the Rootways, and are deeply connected to their goddess. We will be able to play as warriors, rogues, priests, druids, hunters, warlocks, monks, and shamans. Not quite elves and not quite trolls. There are plenty of customization options like body fur, ears, feet, teeth, bioluminescent paint, and even quills. We weren't able to see a full panel of the druid forms, but from the gameplay trailer, what we were able to see looked really cool. I'm all about flying around as a bat. And of course, who could forget one of the best features coming, player housing. We have a virtual tour that you can take on Blizzard's site right now, and we got a lot of coverage during Gamescom as we got to see a showcase of how it's all going to work with personalizing your own humble abode. Stepping into the space you will call home, you're going to have a chest with pieces that you can start using to build and decorate. You may also see items in there if you've been playing a while that you've earned through achievements or things you've collected previously. You earn decor through vendors, professions, and other things hidden around the world that you'll need to uncover. So we'll need to keep our eyes open. If you haven't already done so, now would be a great time to start leveling up some of your professions to be prepared to craft custom items for your home or maybe even potentially sell. It looks like all existing professions will be able to craft decor in some fashion and will be using lumber as a new crafting material. You will have the ability to decorate the outside of your home through different eaves and even gutters. There will be options for landscaping and gardens, fences, and gazebos. The inside of your house is not going to be reflected on the exterior, so if you have a house that has multiple floors, it won't showcase like that on the outside. Exteriors will have orc and human-themed elements as well as night and blood elf-inspired aesthetics. Similar to the barbershop UI when you're decorating the outside of your house, you'll have the full house and then the options you can customize off to the side. There are tons of ways to decorate and modify to create the perfect and cozy space with over 1,000 decor items. You can build different sized rooms, multiple floors, and staircases. There's a search and filter option like size, expansion, or style in order to find specific items. I also want to have the option to add music that plays when you walk into a house, almost like the Garrison jukeboxes. With neighborhoods, you'll be able to peruse a public neighborhood which has room for 50 plots, see the population, and even take a tour before you want to commit. If you want a specific guild-only neighborhood, you can create that with private neighborhoods that will be able to support all members of the guild through different stacked instances and will still share progression. Endeavors is the new kind of renown system for neighborhoods. Devs described it as a cross between world quests and the trading post, but for the neighborhood. You can set who you want to be able to come visit you in your home, so if you want to be left alone living your best hermit life in the spooky forests, you have that option. If you aren't someone that is very savvy at building or decorating but still want your house to look great, it appears as though we have the ability to import builds and specific features. We don't know much about that yet, but I'm sure more info will be released as we get closer to housing being available. We are getting housing early access with our pre-orders of Midnight in patch 11.2.7, but I'm not expecting everything to be available to us right away. But all in all, this is going to be an amazing feature that will continue to grow and last. This next part gets me very hype. Transmogging is getting a bit of an update. You'll now transmog individual gear slots rather than the gear itself. This will initially cost gold, which means if you have a transmog set that you use for leveling, every time you upgrade your gear, your appearances will stay the same, which ultimately saves you some gold, as you won't be shelling out coin every time you want to fix your transmog when you get a new piece of gear. The transmog window itself is going to be bigger and more organized. There's a new system called outfits, which I know sounds redundant from the outfits feature that's already in the dressing room, but this will allow us to put together situational outfits. So let's say every time you want to go into your house, you want to immediately change into your cozy Murloc onesie to sit by the fire. As soon as you enter your house, you will automatically change into that outfit. We'll have some slots available for that for free, and then some additional options that will cost gold, although the cost should be minimal. There will also be some UI changes. They're implementing a damage meter with multiple panels that show damage dealt or healing, but a lot of that info is still to be decided. Enemy nameplates are getting a revamp with different presets so you can customize how you'd like them to appear. Features such as fire effects when you're generating threat and indicators when a boss goes behind you are some of the other elements that were mentioned. There's a new system called Prey, where we can track down enemies between 3 difficulty levels: normal, hard, and nightmare modes. Players who like to do content in the outdoor worlds will go to Murder Row to pick up contracts for a target we'll hunt, each with its own challenge and rewards, like cosmetics, transmog appearances, and mounts. This system in Nightmare mode will also be included in the Great Vault Rewards track. While we're hunting our targets, they will also be hunting us, showing up when we least expect it. In the War Within, we got hero talents to level us from 70 to 80. In Midnight, again, we'll be getting 10 new talent points, but this time it will be split up between the 3 talent trees. 3 will go into your class tree, 3 into hero, and 4 will get put into your spec tree. The hero talents will have a 4th lane with talents that emphasize the abilities you already have, and with the spec tree, those additional points are called Apex talents, which consist of unique multi-talent, multi-rank nodes. You can put 4 points into it, and each point is designed to feel impactful, especially with the first and last nodes. You're not required or locked into putting those points into that node. You're encouraged to, but you are free to spend them wherever you want. New and returning players will have a new and streamlined experience to leveling. It's tough coming into WoW these days as a brand new player. Exile's Reach is getting some adjustments, teaching new players the basics of playing the game, and is set to funnel directly into the Dragonflight campaign and zones. Hopefully this helps with the confusion when coming out of Exile's Reach into your major capital city and having no idea what you're supposed to do next. They're adding story modes to Dragonflight raids as well, so you can team up with NPC followers and understand how the story played out. I do think that, in my opinion, that before leaving the Exile's Reach island, new players should get the window that pops up like in Chromie Time, where they get to choose the expansion they'd like to go. Have an overview of the expansion and its story. I don't necessarily like that new players are almost forced to go into whatever expansion Blizzard thinks is the best. Leave it up to the player regardless if they are new or not. Returning players will head to Arathi Highlands to get their bearings. Coming back after some time away can be just as daunting as a new player, as you have a bunch of stuff in your bags, quests in your log, reset talents, and your action bars look like a mess. This optional experience given by Jaina or Thrall will help get you back into the game by catching you up on mechanics and overarching story up until that point. But that is the overview of everything we learned at Gamescom about Midnight. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a thumbs up if you liked it and share it with your friends. You guys are awesome, and I will see you in the next video.